What if things went different in the MCU Phase 2? After the Avengers of 2012, the first phase of the MCU ended, paving the road for the second phase that lasted from 2013 with Iron Man 3 to 2015 with Ant-Man. But what if that didn't happen? What if things went different in the MCU Phase 2? What if Loki was imprisoned with Hela? In this timeline, Odin sends Loki to a special prison, namely the one Hela was in. Despite of Loki being a frost giant, Hela forms an alliance with him as they have the same enemy in Odin. Loki wouldn't be able to tell Malekith where Thor is, and thus Frigga doesn't die. Thor and Jane are still able to defeat Malekith, and Thor then returns to Midgard. The next big change happens in Thor Ragnarok. Thor returns to Asgard, only to find Odin on the verge of death. Odin warns him about the impending danger of Hela before he dies. Hela and Loki then arrive. Thor throws Mjolnir at Hela, but she destroys it. Hela and Loki then kill Thor, but at the dismay of Loki, Hela also kills Frigga. They then consolidate power in Asgard, with the aim being to take over the other 8 realms. But then Thanos arrived. A fierce fight ensues, but after Hela managed to kill all 4 members of the Black Order, Thanos withdraws. Hela is aware that she is only able to defeat Thanos if she has the Infinity Stones as well. She and Loki use the Tesseract to go to nowhere. Hela kills the Collector and takes the Ether, and just as they leave, Thanos arrives. They go to Nidavellir to craft her own gauntlet. Unlike Thor, Hela is able to withstand the power of the Dying Star, and also crafts herself Stormbreaker. She also tasks Eitri to combine the Hufun with the Casket of Ancient Winter for Loki. Thanos would find the Guardians and take Gamora, and then use the Power Stone to blow up the ship, killing Quill, Rocket, Groot, Drax and Mantis. Thanos then sacrifices her for the Soul Stone. On Earth, the Avengers fight against the Black Order, and then Hela and Loki arrive. The Avengers first think that they work for Loki, but they were proven wrong when Loki and Hela attacked the Outriders. Hela explains that they have a common enemy in Thanos, and that it makes sense to work together for now. When Thanos arrives, a fight between him and Hela ensues that results in a victory for Hela. The Avengers think that the battle is over, but then Hela takes the Power and Soul Stone. She now controls 4 Infinity Stones, and before anyone could do anything, Loki stabs Doctor Strange and throws the Eye of Agamotto to her. She cracks it open and now only lacks the Mind Stone. The Avengers attack Hela, but were getting defeated. But unlike Thanos, she kills every last one of them. Vision would ask Wanda to destroy the Mind Stone. Hela would however just kill Wanda and then use the Time Stone on Vision. She takes the Mind Stone and leaves again with Loki. They are aware that with the Infinity Stones, Stormbreaker, and Sword of Ancient Winter, nothing can defeat them. They conquer the 9 realms, and Hela puts loyalists in charge of everyone, one of them with Loki ruling over Earth. They would massacre the people, and Hela uses the Eternal Flame to revive the dead as her own pawns. Hela might at one point come to the conclusion that she doesn't need Loki anymore and might kill him as well, as he is the most powerful person besides her. In this timeline, with Odin sending Loki to Hela, he never becomes good and Hela rules over the 9 realms. What if Hydra didn't re-emerge? In this timeline, Hydra died with the Nazis in World War II and wouldn't exist by the time of Captain America Winter Soldier. Bucky would still be in ice, and Steve would never find out that Bucky is still alive. Without Hydra existing, Pietro and Wanda wouldn't be experimented on, and they don't become Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Without those visions of the Avengers dying, Tony doesn't create Ultron, which means Vision 2 doesn't exist. Hulk wouldn't be able to flee to Sakaar, and Thor never has visions of the Infinity Stones and remains on Earth. Scott Lang wouldn't become the Ant-Man, as the Yellow Jacket doesn't exist as well. The Sokovia Accords never come to be, as Sokovia didn't happen, meaning the Avengers are never separate. Spider-Man isn't an Avenger yet, and T'Chaka is still the king of Wakanda. In 2016, Jane still breaks up with Thor and he returns to Asgard 1 year earlier. He still finds out that Loki pretend to be Loki, and they still find Odin. He still has 1 year to live and warns them of the impending danger of Hela. When Odin dies and Hela arrives in Norway, she finds Thor, Loki, the Asgardians, and the Avengers ready to fight her. The battle would be brutal and a lot of Asgardians would die, but in the end they defeat Hela, with Thor still having his hammer. Doctor Strange would demand that Loki leaves this planet and Thor calls Heimdall to bring them back, but he doesn't respond, so Doctor Strange just does it for him. When they reach Asgard, they find Thanos and his Black Order attacking Asgard. Thor would attack Thanos, only to be defeated. Loki would trade the Tesseract and Scepter for Thor's live and Thanos then leaves. Thor is aware that he needs to go to Nidavellir and Heimdall brings Thor, Loki and himself there. Before Thor takes the full force of the sun, Loki reminds Eitri to check for the handle, and when Stormbreaker is finished, it can quickly be connected to the handle. On Earth, Doctor Strange was attacked by the Black Order, but by intervention of Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, War Machine and Falcon would arrive and manage to kill all four of them, with the Hulk breaking Cull Obsidian's neck, Captain America and Black Widow stabbing Corvus Glaive with his glaive, War Machine and Iron Man blasting Proxima Midnight, and Hawkeye head shooting Ebony Maw from behind. Thanos still finds Gamora and takes her, while also blowing up the ship, and then sacrifices her. The Avengers would prepare for Thanos' arrival, but when he does arrive, he defeats them one after the other. Iron Man is the only one standing, but Thanos just stabbed him and is about to kill him, but then he was hit by a lightning bolt and Thor, equipped with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, fights Thanos. The Mad Titan would grab Thor by the neck, and just as it seemed he was gonna kill Thor, he is stabbed in the neck from behind by Loki. Thanos yells in pain and lets Thor fall down. Thor grabs Stormbreaker and cuts off Thanos' head. The Avengers celebrate their victory, and Doctor Strange would have to concede that Loki is to be trusted. Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to turn the Power, Space, Mind, and Reality Stone to their original form. They decide that the Tesseract and Scepter should be returned to Asgard. Thor also proposes that the Council of Godheads could protect the Ether. Lastly, for the orb, Nick Fury calls Captain Marvel, tasking her to protect it with her life. Thor and Loki return to Asgard, where Thor would be crowned as new king of Asgard. In this timeline, many events and characters like the twins or Bucky wouldn't be in the MCU, and only the core six, War Machine, Falcon and Doctor Strange, are around. With the Mind Stone not on Earth, things would also change for Asgard greatly. What if Ultron wasn't evil? In this timeline, Ultron never decides to kill all of humanity. While the Avengers were partying, he introduces himself and explains his goal to bring peace. Tony and Bruce built him, so they are fine with this. Hawkeye is in favor of someone else doing his job, so that he can have more time with his family. Natasha is more split as she saw what happened in Captain America Winter Soldier, but on the other hand can't trust herself. Thor was against Ultron, but when he lifted Mjolnir, Thor trusted him. Cap, however, cannot trust Ultron after the whole stuff in his sequel. Ultron would manage to detect Claw, and he and the Iron Legion storm his compound. They arrest him and bring him to Wakanda. Ultron also makes a secret deal with King T'Chaka. He soon later found out where Fast and Weird are. He, Cap, and Thor go to Sokovia, demanding to speak with them. Pietro runs against Cap, knocking him out, while Wanda uses her telepathy against Thor. Suddenly, Ultron chokes her. Pietro tries to save her, but then Ultron chokes him with his other arm. Tony demands Ultron to stop, and he releases them. The twins gasp for air, and then he knocks them out. When they wake up, they are tied, and in the Avengers headquarters. They explain that they want to kill Tony after he killed their parents, and Cap tries to make them join the Avengers. Then Ultron entered with a new red vibranium body and a yellow stone on his forehead. The Avengers ask what's going on, and he explains that he bought vibranium and used it to make his new body, and that he also used the Mind Stone. Thor and Nat were now strongly against him, and Bruce and Clint were unsure, but Tony diffused the situation by not allowing him to upgrade himself without their consent. Seeing his new body, Wanda agreed to join the Avengers. Begrudgingly, Pietro does so as well. However, Wanda won't come together with Ultron, and his Tony-like personality would be a huge red flag for her. After this was settled, Thor decides to get answers about the Infinity Stones and Hulk is still on Earth. The twins show their commitment to the Avengers in the fight against Crossbow. Wanda still levitates him, but when the bomb goes off, Pietro got everyone in the building to safety. The Sokovia Accords never happen. Tony wouldn't call Spider-Man, but keeps an eye on him, planning to recruit him when he turns 18. Ultron would take down the Vulture. In Ragnarok, Thor doesn't meet Hulk, but they still manage to defeat Hela. Thanos still attacks their ship, but instead of using the Bifrost on Hulk, Heimdall uses it on Loki. He still gets stabbed and Thor meets the Guardians. He, Groot, and Rocket go to Nidavellir, and the rest to nowhere. On Earth, Loki warns about Thanos, and Doctor Strange and Wong get Tony. The Black Order arrives soon later. Cull would use his chain hammer to throw Tony around, and then against Loki, knocking them both out. Ebony Maw then takes down Wong and ties up Doctor Strange. Just as he wanted to take the Time Stone, Cap's shield flee against all four of them. He and Bucky then fight Corvus Glaive. Proxima wanted to assist him, but was thrown back by a red blast. Natasha takes her staff and she and Wanda fight Proxima. Hulk then attacks Cull, while Rhodey brings the three to safety. Ebony flees with Doctor Strange but finds the Iron Legion fighting his donut ship. Sam then jumps at him. He throws him away, but Pietro runs away with Doctor Strange. Realizing the battle is lost, he beams himself and the other three to the spaceship and flees. Tony and Doctor Strange would explain what's going on. Spider-Man then arrives, but was disappointed that the battle already ended. Tony didn't want him on the battlefield as he is 17, but Cap allowed him to. Tony then gave him the Iron Spider suit. Loki then woke up and explained that he is here to help and that he has an army with him. Cap then says that they have a, but Loki interrupts him and says that he is aware that they have a Hulk. The Avengers assemble in Wakanda, but are much stronger. Tony, Doctor Strange, and Peter are on Earth. Pietro and Loki are alive, and Iron Legion led by Ultron and the Asgardian army, including Vac, Korg, and Mike, are present. Furthermore, no stone has to be removed, so Shuri and Wanda are on the battlefield, and also the real Hulk. Just before the Black Order arrived, the Guardians together with Nebula arrived, and the Avengers decide to trust them. They also called Clint and Sam, called Ant-Man and the Wasp. The large army is able to make a ring all over Wakanda. The Black Order would send everything, similar to the Battle of Earth. The battle would be tense, but the Avengers, with the help of Thor, managed to kill the Black Order. Thanos then arrived. Ultron, Thor, and Iron Man would blast at him, with Thanos using the Power Stone to make a shield. The Iron Legion, Natasha, Clint, Rhodey, Sam, Bucky, Wanda, Shuri, Quill, and Rocket would all blast him as well, and an explosion happened. Thanos finds Doctor Strange laying on the ground and lifts him up, but finds out that this was just Loki in disguise. The cloak would then wrap itself around the gauntlet, and Doctor Strange and Wong use their magic to make a lasso around his arm. Hulk then grabs the other arm, and Thor cuts of his arm. Ultron then cuts of his head, killing him. Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to bring the Power, Space, and Reality Stone to their original form. The Guardians return the Soul Stone, hoping to bring Gamora back. Thor brings the Ether to the Council of Godheads, and Captain Marvel gets to protect the Tesseract. The Guardians protect the orb. Thor would join the Guardians and give rule over New Asgard to Loki. Tony and Clint retire, and Tony gets a daughter. Bruce would want to leave the Avengers behind and resolve his Hulk problem, and start a family with Natasha. She would, however, always keep a foot at the Avengers. Cap would lead the new Avengers, consisting of Rhodey, Sam, Bucky, Pietro, Wanda, and when he turned 18, Peter. T'Challa and Shuri wouldn't be concerned about events outside of Wakanda, and Doctor Strange would return to his role as Sorcerer Supreme. Ultron would start to deploy the Space Legion as there are threats outside of Earth. In this timeline, bearing Gamora, nobody really dies in the Avengers movies, and the Avengers never fall apart. The snap doesn't happen, and Ultron is the protector of the world. These changes in Phase 2 would have great ripple effects in the MCU, whether it is Hela ruling the 9 realms, many Phase 2 and 3 Avengers not existing, or an AI protecting the world. If you liked the episode, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.